Hello, everyone, and welcome to the. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unhinged Respectfully podcast. I am very excited for this little chapter of life. Um, for those of you who don't know, I am Kristina. I have jotted a couple notes down to keep me on track for this first episode, shall we say, because I like to ramble. I get a little bit off track sometimes. Um, and I think that's just something that you're gonna have to deal with if you're gonna listen to this podcast because that's simply just who I am. Okay? So let's just start that off with that. Now, if you're from my old page on Instagram, hello, it's me. I'm Tina. Tina's Rays is what I used to have the Instagram as. Changed it to my podcast account because I didn't really use that Instagram anymore and didn't want to just have another Instagram. But this is going to be a fun little place. I feel like it's a good spot to talk about things that I care about and also dive deep on some things, talk about things that aren't that deep, a little bit of everything, which is, I think, what everyone's life needs is a little bit of everything. You don't have to be completely on one side all the time. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyways, um basically on here is what I'm going to say when I'm in the car driving by myself. Like I'm going to be so for real and just open and like just talk about stuff that actually makes sense in the world, I guess. I don't know. But it's called Unhinged Respectfully because I do have a lot of unhinged thoughts, but I definitely am a little bit more respectful. I'm a past people pleaser. I like to say past. I could potentially still be one, but I've gotten a lot better at standing up for myself and also standing my ground, and I attribute that to my husband because he has a backbone I do not. But I'm growing one every so often. I feel maybe I don't know. My friends might think differently. I don't know. But this podcast is gonna have some dramatic opinions. Okay, some dramatic. Um, but I'm also married. I am a Christian. I have a business degree. I'm a functioning member of society. Okay, so we're gonna be chaotic, but we're gonna have some self awareness. Okay, let's just start there. But I wanted to introduce myself properly for those of you guys who don't know me. I know as much as I'm excited for this podcast, I have a lot of true friends that are very excited for this podcast and have been so kind to me and telling me how excited they are. And that just shows the real friendships that I have in my life that have actually, like, s- showed that they cared about it, which we could definitely talk about friendships in another podcast episode because I could talk about that forever. I could talk about it forever, okay? But I'm 22. I'm married. Okay? So one thing that I feel like being married, so I got married in May of last year of 2025, and I think one thing that getting married at 21 has taught me, no, not even that it has taught me, but one thing that I feel being married or not being married. One thing that I feel like getting married at 21, now being 22, is I feel like I'm 17 and 45 at the same time. Like being married at 22 feels like I'm 17 and 45 at the same time. Like I genuinely feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, so the next thing is kids, but I'm also at the point where I'm like, I'm literally 22. Most people are getting out of college at 22 and still have no idea what they're doing with their life, and most people are still living with their parents. So like it is a different it's a weird spot to be in, I feel like. Um I wouldn't change it for the world, but it is definitely something that I struggle with a little bit and also feel weird talking about because I feel like no one talks about that. Like being young and married, being married is such a big thing in your life and comes with a lot of responsibilities, and two things can be true at once, okay? And that is something I'm going to say on this podcast all the time is two things can definitely be true at once. But anyways, I also graduated last year a week before my wedding with a business degree from Florida Tech Institute of Technology. So that's another thing about me. If you look at my digital footprint, I've been making YouTube videos since like elementary school. And you might not be able to find them because I privated all of them for my sake, but I have been making like content, you guess you could say, since I was a child, since I had an iPod Touch, okay? And so there was times where being a content creator or like filming content was not cool and it wasn't fun. And I did it for a little bit and it was like whatever. And then I stopped doing it because I thought it was weird and I felt eh. And then I got back into it a little bit and then I got back out of it. But I'm always wanting to create content and obviously just told you I got a business degree. I'm always having that little mind of like, what can I do next? And I also just look, he have a little bit of ADHD and I like need to do stuff at all times or I go insane. So I don't know. But uh yeah. I think overall with social media, I feel like everything seems so curated and like perfect and like matcha and neutral outfits and like best friends. It's either that or you see people that are like completely off the edge going crazy, no turning back. And I feel like we need to have a lot more of like an in between, maybe, because two things can be true at once. Again, I could be polished and pretty and looking good and going on vacation and like looking like I'm having the time of my life and getting married and all that stuff. And at the same time, I could be crashing out about the littlest things that don't even matter and like have no idea what I'm doing with my life. Again, two things can be true at once. Guess what? I'm 22. I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. I was never one of those kids that like wanted to like be a firefighter and like they ended up being a firefighter. Like that's just simply not that was not my life and it still isn't. And that's okay. And it's okay to not know what's going on. And it's okay to look good sometimes and it's okay to look like a rat other times. You're fine. You're literally fine. You don't have to be type A, you don't have to be type B. You can be right in between and that is okay. We don't have to keep grouping ourselves to picture perfect and complete mess. We can be in between and that's perfectly fine, okay? Anyways, um, but I live in between, I would say. Like respectfully, I live in between. Um, but we're going to be talking about literally everything under the sun on this podcast, and I also want to mention that this podcast will be me by myself a lot, but also I will have guests like my friends and my sister, maybe if she wants to spend time with me. And just like even friends of friends, acquaintances, or just people that I know on social media that we like interact with, but maybe we don't hang out or necessarily are friends, would love to have them on here too. Everyone has opinions and everyone has lived a life very different from mine. And I love learning and growing and one thing I do want to say is if you don't agree with me on here, that is completely okay, and I don't expect you to. And matter of fact, I don't want you to agree with me because I want to have a group around me that's going to challenge my way of thinking. And if you don't have friends or family who challenge your way of thinking, you should be a little bit concerned because here's the thing. As people, we are constantly evolving and growing, and if you're not, that might be an issue. Um, but for this community in specifics, um, I want it to feel safe and I want people to be able to express their opinions and, learn. Everyone has a different life they've walked and are walking, and people can also change. And I feel like a lot of people think that people are always going to be stuck in their ways, and I just don't think that's true. I think everyone can change. It takes time, and they might not change in the way that you want them to change exactly, but I don't know. I I don't know. It takes time. But we're here to grow, and we're here to see other people grow, and we're here to hear other opinions. So I would love to have like friends and people on the podcast, not only just one time, but more than once, to talk about many different things because we all have different things to talk about. And to put it into one little podcast would just not be enough. I'm so sorry. I keep leaning forward. If you're watching the YouTube video, I am constantly making sure my laptop doesn't turn off. But anyways, if you came here for a perfectly packaged PR answers, that is not this, okay? But um to get vulnerable with you guys, like, I'm 22 years old, I'm married, and I am not in my dream job right now. I desperately so want kids as soon as I financially possibly can. And I feel like I don't know what's happening in my life, and that's okay. But I don't know why I'm still so stressed out about it if I'm saying that it's okay, you know? Like, I feel like everyone's trying to jump to the next thing all the time. And that's not like, we shouldn't have to think that way. Like, we can stay present and happy in the time that we're in currently. Like, this is a great time. Like, me and my husband have two dogs, we both have jobs. Like, we should be super excited for the spot that we're in, and we're so lucky for what we have. And I am for sure, but I also want to like feel stable in a job that I want to have and keep and know, all that stuff. And I don't know, it's weird, okay? It's weird, and I have such imposter syndrome with so many things, and that's something that I have to work through as an individual. Which, if you guys have imposter syndrome as well, let me know how you work through that, because it is terrible. And it sucks. Like, you feel like you don't deserve anything in a way, or like somebody could say like, "Oh, you got this award for best nail artist." And I would say that has to be a mistake. Or I would be like, "Well, I have to be the best in the world, or else people are going to think that this is not deserved." And it very well could have been deserved. But that's just me, and I'm just rambling again, and I told you guys I was going to ramble. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah. Um, what am I saying? I don't know. Anyways, if you're still here, thank you genuinely for listening to this whole entire first clunk of a intro podcast, I guess you could say. But this is where we're gonna evolve um together. We're gonna grow up in real time together, and we're gonna learn things about people and about ourselves, and talk about things on social media, and like just life, and I don't know, like just a little bit of everything. I think it'll be really fun and a cute little corner. These are going to come out every Saturday, so I think it'll be fun to, you know, do some stuff during the week, put some stuff out during the weekend. I don't know. I'm just really excited to get back into podcasting. For those of you who don't know, I did a podcast with my husband like a year or two ago, and we did it for a good bit of time. And then when we got into like bulk wedding stuff, we kind of paused it for a little bit. And now that we live together, for some reason, we can't seem to find a time to film a podcast together. I don't know about that. But I'm really excited to get on here. And I'm also really excited to have my friends on here and just have a little community of fun little girl talks. And I don't know, it's just an outlet and it's fun. And I feel like if you think that you should make a podcast, you should make a podcast. And because you have the right to do so, and it's super, super fun. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for Unhinged Respectfully. And I hope you guys have a great, 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 great week. And I hope to see you next Saturday. If you're not already following the Instagram, it is at Unhinged Respectfully, and I also believe the TikTok is Unhinged Respectfully as well. Respectfully. So follow that. Follow my main Instagram if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm plugging it anyways. And yeah, I'm just really excited, and I hope you guys are too. And I hope you guys stay for the ride on Instagram. Join the group chat. It's crazy in there, and let's have some fun.